any delay, let's begin with the conversation.
Sure.
Initially, we would love if you could tell us a bit more about you, where are you from, and what do you do?
I'm from Bangalore, born and brought up in Bangalore, but originally from a place called Coorg. I work as a business coach. I'm a business coach, life and business, but I primarily focus on entrepreneurs. And before I became an entrepreneur, I was in the corporate world for 17 years. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. If I had known how challenging it was going to be, maybe I wouldn't have gone down this route. But yeah, that's what I do currently. I work with clients one is to one, and I do group coaching as well. And I host a podcast. For people who don't know, I host a podcast as well.
Wow, that's fascinating. And I would love to know more about your journey. So could you please share about your journey so far?
Sure. Like I said, my dream was always the corporate dream. I thought, so I do have an MBA, but I always felt like I would um, through the years, grow up the ladder, and then, quit, retire in my 60s. But life always I mean, and that's usually what the corporate dream is, right? And life does have very strange ways of taking you through your ups and downs. And what happened was, when my daughter was born, by the time my daughter was born, I was already thinking about what my purpose is. I think when you leave college and you get your first job, you're not really thinking about impact, purpose. At least for my generation, it wasn't like that. It was like, which job, are you secure, all of that. And then this was when my daughter was born. I was already thinking about what else can I do. I was done with the corporate dream by then. I really wanted to try something else. And that's when I used that opportunity to leave my job and actually started looking at what else I could do. I knew that I wanted to do something in the space of training, workshops, that kind of stuff, because I wanted to use the knowledge that I'd gained over the past 17 years and see if I could use that again service to offer services to the corporate world. So I started out as an image coach because I said, okay, the gap that I see is when people go from middle management to senior management. They need help with their personal brand, with their communication, with their confidence. And this is something that I knew how I could help them. So I started over there. So I started as an image coach. I actually trained as an image consultant and got started. This is 2016, 2017. Halfway through, I met this client who was struggling with her confidence. She was going through a lot in life. And I was looking at her and I said, okay, you know what? I can help her with outside, but I don't know how to help her with the inner work that she needed. And they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's when my coach came in, and I met my coach and I moved into life coaching. Why business? The reason I chose business was, even though I'd spent time in the corporate world and I thought it would be easy for me because I had the experience, actually running a business was very challenging for me. The first year, I didn't make any money because I didn't know how to charge for my services. I didn't know how to ask people to pay me. And when people would ask me to do a workshop, I would be like, yeah, I'll do this one. You can pay me for the next one, because I also had imposter syndrome. I didn't know if I was doing a good job. I didn't know if I was good enough. All of this going on. So what I started to do was, this was the time that I was also very active in the digital world. I was very interested in what's happening in digital marketing. Blogs were blowing up. Instagram was a thing. Social media was blowing up. This is 2016, 2017, 2018. And I wanted to be part of that. It was very exciting for me and I learned a lot. I set up my own website. I learned how to code. All of this I didn't know earlier in my corporate career. So I actually started to apply all of that to my own business. And I started to turn my own business around. And because of that, I realized what my challenge was. And this is with me having experience. I now use the lessons that I've learned, the marketing tips, tricks, hacks, everything that I've learned to help other business owners growing their own email entrepreneurship. I really feel like that's an area that I want to see grow. Women-owned businesses get only 2% investment, So that's a very, very poor, the numbers are very bad. And I would love to be part of that system, which is helping female owned businesses grow as well. So we have more equality, we have more diversity, there are more different diverse problems that can be solved by the solutions that the women are bringing. So that's a very long answer to your very short question about my journey so far.
That was very interesting journey, and I want to really know more through next questions. There's this question that you are the founder of global coaching platform, which is Success with Savita. What
Yes.
inspired you to start this coaching platform, and how has the journey been till now?
So when I started as an image coach, it wasn't called Success with Savita at that time. But once I started to realize that what I wanted to do was focus on helping other businesses, that I was a business coach, and I also, it's not that it's just something that I wanted. This is an area that I had applied, tried with businesses, got results. So I worked with a few businesses. So I knew how to turn service-based businesses around. So that's when I said, okay, I'm setting up this company, and we called it Success with Savita, and we set it up as a coaching business. But what also happened was, when I was doing my coaching program that year, I had a lot of other fellow coaches in my program who had podcasts. This is 2018, and they would invite internationally, and they would invite me to be a guest on their podcast. And I would go, and people would hear me talk about my story, my journey, and they would be, can we work with you? So I started to get international clients, and that's how the footprint grew. And we grew from just not having clients in India and North America. We today have Middle East, we have Australia, we have Southeast Asia, we have Europe. So I started to do not just coaching, but I do workshops. I do corporate workshops as well. And it's just very grown very organically. So yeah, today we are present in 13 countries, and hopefully we'll go to more English speaking countries in the future as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Um, it is again so fascinating. I do not have any other word for fascination, but that's exactly how's your journey been. So my next question is based on our series too, which is success stories. What is
Sure.
success, and what does it take to be successful?
I think success is different for different people. For some, it is having a lot of money. For some, it's being able to run your own business, do the work that you love. To me, I think, therefore, everyone, number one, should define success, what it means to them, and not what you see um, as social media okay, or what you see someone else living. That's one. So for me personally, success is having the flexibility to do the kind of work that I can do, having the flexibility to choose the time that I want to work, the clients that I want to work, and the kind of businesses that I want to work. So that is success. When you have that passive income, or that a certain level of profit that you have reached, then you can pick and choose. But otherwise, in the early days, it's the hustle. You'll take everything that comes, and not everything may give you joy. So that's one. Second, being able to do the work that I want to do. I may not be great at everything, but those one, two, three areas that I'm great at, I only want to be able to focus on that. And I think being able to, for me personally, being able to travel and work from anywhere, that's of course pandemic now, but that's my idea of success. Having abundance, having a good life. It's beyond work, right? It has to be having a good life, not just struggle day to day, but have some peace of mind. So that's my idea of success. What your second question is, what do you need to be successful?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. To me, I think, of course, hard work is a given. Focus is a given. Having the will to succeed, that is a given. So I will put that down as mindset is number one. I think you need to decide that you want to be successful, and you need to decide that this is how I want to live my life. Like, define it for yourself. So that's number one. Second, I think, is consistency. You don't have to be the most talented. I was just, when earlier in the day, I was having a conversation with someone, and I was saying, you don't have to be the most talented. You just have to be the most hardworking and the most consistent. And I remember Will Smith, who said this. He said, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the brightest, I'm not the most intelligent guy, but when it comes to hard work, I will, I mean, the only way I leave the field is dead. So he says, if we get on that treadmill, I am not stopping. And I think that's a great way that he says, I don't have all of these things. And if you see, the most successful people are not necessarily the most talented, because some people can have talent, but they don't apply it. They don't work, take it forward. So that's second, consistency. And third, I would say, is grit, being able to hang in there. You're going to fail. Failure is part of life, right? You're going to fail, you're going to get rejected, you're going to be judged. All of that, things are not going to go your way, and it hasn't gone their way for anyone, right? But you've got to be able to keep going on. You've got to be the Elon Musk of your own life and say, even if my rocket has failed 4 or 5 times, I'm still going to go put my all in, because my belief is so much greater. So grit. I think the word for it is grit. So if you have the mindset, the consistency and ability to do the work, the focus and the grit to hang in there, even when you're failing, to keep going, I think that's what it takes to be successful.
Very admiring. And with that, I want to take this quick moment to ask the audience that if you have any questions for Savita ma'am, just use that question and answer feature to put down all your questions. We will be addressing those questions at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will move to the next question. I would love if you could share how we can turn our weaknesses into strength. How do we do that?
I think you can't make a weakness strength per se, but you can become better. You can become better than what you were last, because you get what you focus on. If you're focusing on improvement, you can, again, like it's consistency. You'll have to pick one area. You have to know, okay, let me backtrack, let me rephrase that. Number one is, you have to know what is your weakness. A lot of people don't know that they're weak at something, because they don't have the judgment to be able to say, these are things that I'm great at, and these are things maybe I'm not great at. So first identify what are these areas that you're weak at. Then choose to act upon it with intention. You're not going to become stronger in an area unless you work at it. So you have to start working at it consistently. And I think the most important thing is not to say that weakness should turn into a strength, but being able to just improve it till you're good enough is a great way to work on it. Having said that, make sure that while you're working on your weakness, you don't let go of your strengths. Like, you don't weaken that area. You continue to maintain your strengths, but you work on your weakness. Have a little bit of micro focus on that. Pick one area and just, go at it doggedly. So focus and just stay. And you don't have to do 100 things in one day, right? You don't want to go from 0 to 60 in 1 minute. All you need to do is, I'm going to take one step. I'm going to take one step today to improve this. And you will, everything. I mean, think about the first video that we all made. Nobody woke up, or think about anybody who did their first movie. Maybe they weren't great, but by their 100th movie or 100th video, you are going to get better. There's no way but to just go through it and improve as you go. Yeah, that's my response to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have a question which I wanted to ask earlier as well with
Sure.
success. Like, what do you
Sure.
think defines our success?
I think it's what you decide defines your success. It's really very personal. And, what is it? What is your definition of success? I think we all need to define it. Like, for me, it could be flexibility, abundance. For somebody else, like I said, it could be just peace of mind. So I would say your definition of success should be that you have met your own goals, that you have met your own definition of success and not somebody else's. The problem is, a lot of us want to define success by what others say it should be. That's not true. Okay, you define it for yourself. So I think if you can identify what is your definition of success and you're able to get yourself there, that is what success should mean to you. And it's very individual, it's very personal. And don't go by anything else that somebody else defines as success.
Lovely, love that answer. And it's really helpful even for me as a host here to answer that question.
Thank you.
And now I have a question where there's a person who wants to start with project and has almost started his project. So what are the things that he need to be aware of while he is doing that project?
Any project?
Yeah, it could be an entrepreneurial project, for example, your business
Sure.
setup that he has started. Yeah.
I think the first thing is to know what results you want from the project. Why are you doing this project? And what are the expected results? So identify that. You should know the results, uh, which is basically going to be the goals that you set for, completion of, or the reason for doing your project. And then I would say do your research, okay? Because you don't want to just dive right in, not knowing, what it takes and what you need to plan and prepare for. So do your research, then create a plan. It does not have, it should be a little like, it can, maybe in the beginning you don't know how specific you can get, but as much granularity, as much specific as you can, create a plan. And then create mini milestones, because you're not, you should only not just look at the goal. For example, if the project is you want to get from Bangalore to Mumbai by road, then you have mini milestones as well. Okay, what's your first milestone, what's your second milestone? And I think finally, so identifying what results you want, why you're doing it. Two is doing your research. Three is putting together a plan. Four is to have those mini milestones. And five, I will say, is to really kind of plan your, because I think or underestimate time. So look at how much time you really need. That should come out of your research as well. And give yourself some buffer time so you can course correct along the way. And don't procrastinate till the last moment to get your project started. That's for sure.
True. Very essential point, I would say. We have a question from audience.
Sure.
How to improvise decision making?
Yeah, I'll answer that. And then there was a question earlier as well, I think, how to deal with toxic people. So to improvise decision making, sometimes like there can be many ways. People like to see the pros and cons, and it's good. It's great to kind of estimate the do's or the pros and cons of doing something. But you know how you get better at decision making? By actually making the decisions. Okay, that is something I find. A lot of people are just sitting on the fence. I find a lot of people don't take action because they spend time, they end up overthinking, and then they talk themselves out of it. I would be a fast action taker. You tell yourself that you want to be a fast decision maker. Let me tell you, the most successful people in the world are fast decision makers. They make decisions. It's yes, no, and go. And of course, no is no and yes is yes. They commit to it. So you may want to take a little time to just see the pros and cons, but don't take all your time that you miss making that decision by itself. So I think pros and cons, but making sure it's a fast. And how are you going to get better at decision making? Because you made some decisions in the past, so you get good at it. Often people avoid making a decision, so you don't get good at it. Okay, so yeah, that's my answer. I hope it helps. With that, I think Saiful, I hope that answer helped you. I'm going to answer another question that we got earlier. I think it was about toxicity. I think toxic and negative people. How to? Oh yeah, Saifullah only asked this question. How to deal with toxic and negative people? My ways to deal with toxic and negative people is first identify this person, how important they are in your life to you. Is the negative person your boss? Is the negative person your family member? So identify their level of importance in your life. If they are very important, you can't avoid them fully. Correct? You can't cut them out. But what you can do is you can minimize your interaction with them. But if it's like a partner, if it's a close family member, can you have a conversation with them and tell them sometimes the things that you say are a little hurtful? So just be mindful of this when you're speaking, because this is how I feel when you're saying it. But if they're not important, if they are not your immediate family member, if they are not somebody who is a big decision maker in your life, then you don't even need to deal with them. Just walk away. Delete people. It's called cancel. So cancel such people from your life. because it's not going to get better unless you're stronger and you learn how to ignore them. So in the beginning, if you're not strong enough to learn to ignore, and it's hurtful to you, I would say just avoid fully.
Yeah,
I hope that
I love
helps.
those questions.
Yeah,
Exactly. I
Sagarika
love
is
that
asking the
question, Steph.
questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I
Okay.
think there aren't any
Um,
more questions. We move on.
yes.
Okay.
My next question is, what is an action plan and how can we create one action plan for us?
Action plan. Action plan is, let me break this down. If you have a goal, I think weight loss, health is an easy way to break this down. So my goal can be that I want to lose 20 kilos. Okay. The action plan is how am I going to, it's the tactical steps that you're going to take to get to that goal. Okay. So the goal is the actual what you want to get to. So let's say in terms of weight loss, we're saying 20 kilos. The action plan is A, you're going to change your diet. Action plan, second action plan, you're going to start exercising. Third action plan, you're going to sleep more. Your fourth action plan, maybe you'll get some supplements. Planning your time to exercise, those become the action steps. So yeah, what was the second part of the question, Abhishek?
It was how do we create an action plan? That was the
Okay. Okay. So first identify your goals and then sit down. And I feel like don't create action plans which are very random and on the fly. Take a little time, sit down and put together a few action plans. When you're making an action plan, try to make it very actually actionable. The reason it's called an action plan is it should be actionable. It should not be, maybe I want to lose 20 kilos. Decide by when. Okay, not forever. You don't want to be acting on your goal forever, right? So 20 kilos by in the next 12 months. So my action step is to get to 2 kilos weight loss um, every month. Now what you would want to do is, okay, so if I reduce carbs, so that's an action plan. So get really specific, take some time, sit down and make those action plans, write it down, 1 2 3, evaluate it. And the second thing I would say is action plan is just an action plan if it's written down on paper and you don't you may do it for a week. How do you keep going? You keep going by making sure that every week you are checking in and checking where you are on that action step. And if you've fallen off, if you've not done it, to get yourself back and to do it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. So the next question that I'm asking is actually, I think you answered it previously as well, but if there is anything that you would like to add, you can surely do that. So the question
Sure.
was, how can different individuals define success for themselves, and what should be the parameter for it?
Yeah, first, I think when you define success for yourself, you've got to know yourself a little bit. So you need some quiet time, I would say, and really get to know yourself. Ask yourself some questions, right? And some of those questions can be, what is important to you? Okay, what is important to you? How do you visualize your life? How do you see yourself living your life? And then I suggest you ask yourself, what really makes you happy? What makes you, what makes you wake up every day and want to do a certain thing? Okay, so start to identify what you love, what you like to do when you're at work, what you like to do when you're with your family, what you like to do when you're with friends, what is it that you like to do for yourself. Okay, and then based on that, you identify that, yes, for me, success means 1 2 3 things. It is not these things. Sometimes you may not know exactly what success means to you, but at least start to eliminate. Tell yourself, this is not success to me. Okay, if I'm working 16 hours a day and I'm not happy and I hate my job, and every day I wake up and I think about how not to go to my job or how not to do something, um, you know ask yourself, if you can remove that, you can stop doing that. So I think for you to define success, you have to know yourself well, spend time with yourself, ask yourself questions. questions, which is about what you like, who you are, what you do, what your passions are, what is your value system, who do you want to see yourself surrounding yourself with, and that will give you the answers of what kind of success you want to create in your life.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that. I think that is really helpful. And we have one question. I
Sure.
will just open it up. Just yeah. So here it is by Sushma Dadi. How do you celebrate your successes?
Okay. How do you say? I think number one, the fact that you asked me this question, it's a great question. One should celebrate their success. People don't celebrate enough. In the past, I've been one of those people who achieves something and then I move on to the next thing. For me, it's always been about the hustle. What's next? What's next? Which goal? Which milestone? But I think stopping a minute and acknowledging that how far you've come, that's good. So for me, I think one is to regularly journal. I journal, so I always ask myself, what are you grateful for? And I ask myself, what were my wins for last month? And that's number one. Second, to celebrate, I really like to celebrate with the people around me. So I like to celebrate with my team, with my family, with friends. So I really like to celebrate. I like to show that, share that on my social media at times or not, but mostly I mark like a milestone. Sometimes it would be something like I would buy some myself like a book, like I give myself these mini things that I'm holding on, and I'll be like, when I do this, I'm going to get that. So that helps me remember, and these are like little things that I do, so which helps me remember why I got that and how I got there. So I think it's really important to celebrate. And sometimes family members don't even know what you've done because you think like, oh, they're not going to understand. It's not a big deal. And also you thinking that the small wins are not worthy of being celebrated. That's also not true. So I think, yeah, first is to celebrate, and then I do it through my giving gratitude and celebrating with friends, family, whoever's around, including the team.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sushma Dadi, for that question. There's one question. How do you confront situation where you just missed out, succeeding in this project? You
When you
we
get
lost
rejected.
the project. Yes,
Um,
something around that.
So I have not been very good with failure, I will tell you. Because we are our culture, it's a cultural thing, right? Failure is frowned upon. And I think when I was growing up, I heard some comedian make this joke, and it really resonated with me, where he said, in India, especially South India, you were either an engineer or a doctor or a disgrace to your family, right? So if you didn't get into science, if you didn't get into medicine or engineering, and my parents were like that, they were like, oh my God, what are you going to do? How are you going to live your life? And so failure is not, it's a cultural thing that we are taught from very young, that if you don't do these things, if you don't get into these subjects, you're not very smart, and you're not very bright, and you don't have prospects. So I feel like we need to normalize failure. Why are we going through life thinking that you're not going to, like, everything is going to be a hit? It's not going to be like that. So if you lose out on a project, tell yourself that's okay. My solution for that is to ask better questions. The question you've got to ask yourself is, oh, why is not, the question shouldn't be, why is this happening to me? This always happens to me. These, people are, whatever. It's not that. The question you've got to ask, what can I do so next time I can get this project? What can I do so next time I can be successful? So ask better questions. And if there's only one thing that you remember about failure, it's to ask the better question. Sometimes we're asking ourselves the wrong questions, which means that we don't improve, which means we get hit with failure again. I have failed so many times, and I think I've become stronger today because I failed. And today I can take failures. You can hit me with it. I will feel bad, of course, but I can get up and keep going because I failed so many times that my version of rock bottom was really bad and I didn't know. So I feel we all prepare for success we also need to know how we respond when we fail and have a very positive approach to it, saying, next time maybe I'll try it this way. Next time I'll probably ask better question. Next time I will do a better presentation. And all of us are very good at identifying where we went wrong or what we need to improve. So I think that's a better way to look at anything that you get rejected from. And sometimes it's not for you.
Right.
That's how you look
Yeah.
at rejection.
And absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. I have a question for you. So, now that you have reached so much here, what is that one advice that you would like to give it to yourself when you were starting your journey?
Wow, so many. Is it only one? I have so many pieces of advice. Number one, I think, would be something that I wish I had done more of. I have done it a little bit, but I feel like we finish all our degrees and then, we get into working. Maybe either we start a business or we, join a company and start working. I feel like we don't invest enough in our own learning. And often people who work for companies really expect that the company is going to train me and that's enough. It's not enough. I have learned so much more from being very invested in my own learning. So I think number one is to invest in your learning, and second is, in hindsight, some of the decisions you make, you will know that it was fine. You're going to be okay, and I think that's something that you've got to tell yourself, that it's not the end of the world. You're going to be okay. You're going to have many more opportunities, and you can go out there and create those opportunities for yourself. Another thing that I would also say is a very big one is to continue to network, build your network. It's important. Get to know different people. You learn because you meet different people, you have different perspectives. So I think investing in your learning, networking, and telling yourself it's okay, there will be something better around the corner, and just keeping that hope, keeping the faith, and believing in yourself, which is very hard. But just to say it's okay, there'll be something more. You have a long life in front of you. You have a long career ahead of you. So some small things, don't take it too hard. In 3 years they won't matter. In 5 years you won't even remember it. So don't worry about it. Yeah, that's my advice.
Wonderful. And I have a question for you. So now that you gave an advice to the person who you were at initial of journey,
Yeah.
what is that one advice that person, when you were there starting your journey, would give to now that you are? Was I able to convey the question?
Yes, I think, when you start out, you come out of university, you've not really had those knocks in life sometimes, right? Some of us have not had knocks in life. And to, not, I think, to go through life, okay, let me rephrase this. So I felt like I was very confident in my 20s, but when I started my business, the first year, 2 years, I was not very confident. And I was second guessing myself a lot. I was overthinking a lot. So the advice I would give my older self, the younger self would give is, just be confident. You can do it. That time, you just dove in. You didn't know how hard it was or how difficult it's going to be. So just be the same person. Just go in thinking like you can do this and be confident.
Amazing. Thank you so much for answering that. We have one more question from Sushma Devi. I'll just
Sure.
display it. Um, Here we go. After failing multiple times, do you think one gets used to it and the threshold increases each time?
Sorry, I started laughing when she said, "Do you get used to it?" Please continue. Read it out again.
Okay. After failing multiple times, do you think one gets used to it and the threshold increases each time?
Yes, I think yes. It's not that you get used to it, it still hurts as much, but you don't take it so hard anymore. And it again depends on your mindset, okay? Because sometimes we can be like, why does this always, I'm always failing, everything is always going wrong. And you count the number of times you kind of, had rejections or fail. So if you have a positive mindset, you'll be like, yeah, it's okay. You know what? Move on. Let's go with it. So I feel like it depends on your mindset. If you're not learning from your past failures, if you're, I love this term. It's called fail forward. So I think that's something that everybody should apply. What fail forward means is you learn from what happened, and you're moving forward with those learnings and applying it to your life. And what happens is, if you stay in that fail forward, if you have that mindset, right, if you have the growth mindset, which is, okay, this didn't go well for me, but let me try it a different way, then you're going to be fine. Your threshold goes up, it gets better. But having said that, we're all human, so you may feel bad, but maybe before, where I would cry for 3 days, maybe now I just cry for an hour or 5 minutes. So that will still remain. I'm not going to promise you that you're not going to feel it. It's just that you become stronger. Make sure your mindset is in the right place, then your threshold levels go up, you can take a lot more. And that's something that you will realize whether you're getting better or not. And that's something that you need to kind of improve on. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think all the questions are answered. Um, yeah,
I
all the
think some
questions are
great
answered.
questions.
Okay.
You guys
Yeah.
asked some great questions. It's been fun answering them. And yeah, so if the audience has any questions, I'm happy to answer that.
Absolutely, exactly. They are adding a lot of value to the conversation. So last, I have a very last question for you. Would you like to share any message with our audience? Like we are very close to the session, so any advices, any message that you would like to share?
I think I've given a lot of advice, but my message to you would be: is your if I mean, whoever's listening, and I think the people, the audience on Pencil Bricks is also young people, is while you're doing all of this and while the world is going through a lot of change, learn to have some fun, learn to, like, have those good times, like build memories. I think that's important, because life goes by very fast, and before you know it, time has passed, a decade has passed. So create those memories, take more photographs, go on more trips with family, make each moment, be more mindful and make each moment count, build those memories. I think that's important. So learn to have fun. As long as you know what your goals are, as long as you have a plan in place, you have the right mindset, you're anyway going to get to be successful. You're way ahead of the pack already. But while you're doing that, don't leave your family behind, don't leave your friends behind, don't take them for granted. Make sure that you're living a full life, have fun, build memories, and have a great time. Life is meant to be enjoyed. We've all been given this gift of life, so enjoy it in its fullest. So make it fun on your road to success. That's my advice. And it's been a great session so far. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, live the life with fullest. Thank you so much for joining us in and making it such a meaningful conversation. And I want to thank the audience as well who joined us in and had such wonderful questions that added a lot of value to the conversation. And I want to take this moment to tell the audience that if you're liking our content and if you want to know more, do follow us on Pencilbricks and check out the link in bio. And Savita ma'am, I would love to ask you, what's the name of your podcast so that you can share it with the audience?
Yeah, it's called the Success with Savita podcast. So you can just go
Okay.
onto any platform. We are on almost all platforms. So other than the ones which are not in India yet, like I, I, yeah, I think even Stitcher, we are there on Stitcher. iHeart, sorry, not on iHeart Radio. It hasn't come yet, I think. But otherwise, we are on Savan, we are on Google Podcasts, we are on Ghana, Amazon Prime. So you just go search for Success with Savita. We have some amazing guests on the show. We've had some beautiful interviews. So please do like, follow, review, and of course, please do find me on my Instagram. If you have any questions, send me a DM. I'm very active in my DMs, so I'm happy to connect with you guys there. And also if you want on LinkedIn.
That's so kind of you. Thank you so much for opening up for that. And yeah, like we made the day very meaningful and very fascinating with your journey. Thank you so much for joining us in again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abhishek. You were wonderful. And I wish you all the very best. And I wish the audience a fantastic future and time ahead. Have a great evening. And thank you for having me. It's been a joy.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.